Yo, welcome back to Herbistry420. I'm your host, 40. So today we're doing Gummies for Dummies, part 5, baby. I don't know, I need to emphasize it. Anyways, this episode is about texture changes and substitutions and so forth. It's the recipe that I'm using at the moment for most of my gummies, unless I'm making them sour. Anyways, come on over here, let's get started, baby. All right, so we're closer. I think we have everything out. Let's go ahead and get started. Now we're making a double batch here. So if you wanted to make a single batch, basically divide everything by half, right? First things first, we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of unflavored gelatin. So I have unflavored gelatin right here. You could use whatever brand you want, doesn't matter, right? We're gonna take 2 tablespoons and we're gonna put them in this cup right here. And the reason we need to put it in some kind of cup or bowl or something is because we're going to add some juice to this to make sure that this gelatin blooms before we utilize it, right? So moving this off to the side right here, we are going to take orange juice. Now you don't have to use orange juice. When you make your gummies, obviously depending on what flavor you're going for, maybe you could use water if you want, you could use coconut water, you could use mango juice, you could use pineapple, whatever. The reality is I'm going to use strawberry flavored gelatin, so I'm going to use orange because orange and strawberry go good together, right? But adjust accordingly. We're going to use about a cup, maybe a little bit less of juice right now that we're going to pour into the cup below. So this is a little bit less than a cup. I cannot believe I did not spill there. Now we're going to pour about a cup inside this double boiler right here. After we do that, we're going to turn it on. So that's now we have 1 cup in here, well, almost a cup and almost a cup of juice, right? So 2 cups total, 1 for the unflavored gelatin, which we use 2 tablespoons. And then in here, we are going to use 2 packs of flavored gelatin, whether it's Jello or this is from a local grocery store brand here or whatever you use. It doesn't matter the brand. All right, so I'm going to open up both these packs. These packs probably have about 85 or so grams of gelatin, right? Same as a standard Jello packet or other brand, etc. We're going to dump both of these in there. We need to turn our burner on. I set it to high for now just for it to heat up faster, but once it gets hotter, I will go ahead and turn the temperature down a bit. So as this is coming up to a boil, we have some other things. Number 1, right here, we have some potassium sorbate. Potassium sorbate is a mold inhibitor. You could use LorAnn Oil's mold inhibitor if you want. You could also use lemon juice. I use potassium sorbate. You can buy these crystals on Amazon. It's a 3-to-1 ratio to water. 3 parts water to 1 part potassium sorbate crystals, right? So usually what I do is I put this on top of a scale. I measure out 10 grams of potassium sorbate, 30 grams of water, shake it up, and then this will last a few batches, right? I keep it in the refrigerator to keep it good. And yeah, so for this, we'll probably use about a teaspoon, right? That's what this is right here. So we're gonna take about a teaspoon. We're gonna drop that in the mixture, right? Which right now is just the orange juice as well as the flavored gelatin. I should not have got high before doing this. So I apologize, guys. All right, next, we want to add corn syrup. Now, in the other recipe, I'm not using corn syrup, right? In the first 4 videos. By adding corn syrup, you do 2 things. You prevent any sugar crystallization from happening when you make gummies, which usually doesn't happen anyway for me, but you also change the texture of the gummies. The reality is, by using 1 packet to 1 tablespoon of unflavored gelatin, in that ratio, it creates a certain type of gummy. When you add corn syrup, it's going to change it a little bit squishy. The squish is going to be nicer, you know? So this is optional. You do not have to add it, but we'll add about a half cup. I'm not going to measure this out. I'm looking. It's less than a half cup, it looks like, but not that much. I'm just going to put all of it in there, huh? But again, you could measure it out and put half cup if you're doing a double recipe like me, or put a 1/4 cup if you're doing a single recipe, right? Now, mind you, one of the reasons we put the unflavored gelatin in this cup like early on is so this would all start to bloom while we're waiting for this to come up to temperature, right? Because after this comes up to temperature, it gets hot, all the flavored gelatin dissolves, then we're going to dump this in there after it's bloomed, right? I'm going to grab a spoon so I can mix this up a bit. just to make sure everything got touched in there, right? All right, that's mixed up. Should be good. All right, I'm gonna put the cap on this, toss this. And so yeah, now we're just gonna wait. I'm not gonna talk. I've got a whisk here. You could use a whisk, a fork, whatever you want, huh? Just to get this mixing. At the moment, it's not hot enough, so nothing is dissolving and it's kind of like a clump in the juice. So we're just gonna wait for that to get going. I'm not gonna talk. We'll speed this up and later we're going to add this into the mixture. All right, so as you can see, just stirring this up. It hasn't fully dissolved yet, but it's getting there. In fact, I don't know if I could do this with one hand, but let's try, right? I'm gonna grab this mixture here and I'm gonna try to dump it in. It looks like it mostly is bloomed. I'm gonna have to put this down, but we're gonna stir this up and I will see you guys at the next step. All right, so once everything is incorporated like this, you're not seeing anything on the bottom, everything is liquid. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the cell phone real quick. And at this time, we can go ahead and add some coloring. I have some food coloring right here. Now, how much you add is up to you. Through experience, I know on this particular brand, I just do like 2 squirts like that, and that should be good. How much is 2 squirts? Maybe like 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'm not positive, huh? Next, we can go ahead and take 2 tablespoons of this flavoring. This is LorAnn, or no, this is Fun Cakes. It's another brand, kind of like LorAnn. This is Zesty Strawberry. So I'm going to take 2 teaspoons of this, and I'm going to put it inside of our gummy mixture, right? This is going to increase the flavor to be definitely much more strawberry. It will be strawberry dominant as far as the flavor is concerned. I'll go ahead and clean off this teaspoon inside the mixture. And I'll dump this in the sink. We'll close this up. And now at this point, we're gonna stir it a bit, and then we're going to add some Guar Gum. Now this is a change because in the previous 4 videos, you saw me use liquid lecithin. Now liquid lecithin, everybody has, right? Or a lot of people have, because you could use that for all kinds of stuff. So that's why I used it, but you could use Guar Gum also. In fact, Guar Gum won't impart any taste, flavor changes, or even color changes to the gummies. Whereas liquid lecithin can tint the gummies a little bit. It could change the flavor a little bit. And yeah, so use Guar Gum if you don't want that to change. But if you have lecithin at the house, then you could just keep using what you already have. I'm gonna move this stuff off to the side. I'm gonna take this is like a teaspoon, right? More or less. And I'm going to take 2 decent sized teaspoons to drop in here, right? Or maybe, there we go, 1.5 teaspoons. There we go. We're gonna start mixing this up. Now, mind you, all this powder is sitting in there. Let me grab the cell phone real quick. All right, you'll notice that the powder is slowly dissolving. You want that fully dissolved, right? Because the next thing we're going to do is add whatever we're going to infuse this with. If you're making these infused. If you're not making it infused, you could have skipped adding the Guar Gum, for example. You don't have to make these with any type of emulsifier if you're not using some type of infusion. We are going to use tincture. Now, mind you, tincture may color our gummies a bit because it's very dark, so it's gonna make a color change to the gummies and make them darker. If I wanted to avoid that, I could evaporate the alcohol off the tincture and use the FICO, and then we're not gonna get a big color change. Alternatively, I could use rosin or another type of concentrate, and that would limit the amount of color change to the gummies, right? All right, I wanted to show you what the tincture looks like once we add it. Notice it became much darker, almost brownish or orangish brownish, but it will be dark red, hopefully, when they dry. Now, we could add a little bit more food coloring, but the reality is if you do not want this big color change, what you need to do is, like I said, use concentrate. Now, I need to stir this for approximately 10 minutes. I'm not gonna do this while talking or anything like that. I'm gonna stop talking, and in 10 minutes, we'll be back to go ahead and put these in a mold. All right, so one of the reasons you may have noticed that I took it on and off the heat is it was starting to bubble inside. I didn't want it to boil. And one thing I forgot to do before I added the tincture was just scrape any scum off of the top. You see? Just drag your spoon off the top, pick up the scum, and this is what's going to be, throwing it in the sink, this is what's going to make the gummies have that like film on the backs of them, right? So you could remove it like this if you don't want them to have it. This is optional. You don't have to do it. It's not like the flavor is bad or something like that. It's just, it will have a film on the back, right? So I'm going to remove this, and then after I do that, we're going to grab a syringe, and we're going to fill the molds, baby. All right, let's go ahead and fill these puppies up. I find it super easy with a big syringe like this.
A feeling of love, a feeling of happiness. So let no one destroy this house. Only let the people in.
All right, so you probably noticed that the syringe shot gummy mixture here, there. And it's funny because these syringes normally, when they're held upright, nothing leaks out of them. But this one maybe is loose or defect, I don't know. So that's why I was using the paper towel to stop it from dripping until I could. Anyway, so here we are. What I'm going to do, because I don't have room in the fridge, is I'm just going to leave them here for a few hours. After a few hours, they should be okay to demold. It depends, of course, on the humidity of your place, that kind of stuff, etc. If you put them in the fridge, after 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you should be able to demold them. And then what I do is I put them on a cutting board and I dry them on each side, flipping every hour, every couple hours, and I let them with a fan for a day. After a day, they'll be dry to the touch, they'll be squishy, etc. And at that point, that's when I'm going to see you guys. I'll show you what the final product looks like. We'll give one a try. I'll see you guys tomorrow, baby. All right, so we're back. It's the next day. These puppies are still drying. Let's go to the other camera and show you what they look like, right? Now, overnight, I didn't flip them, but right now, if we pick them up, you notice they stick to the board a little bit still. They're still drying. So every couple of hours, what I'll do is I'll come over, I'll flip them over, and as I flip them over, I let the other side dry, etc. I just flipped them, so I'm going to leave them like this for now. And again, by the end of tonight, based on the humidity of my environment and the temperature, etc., they should be done by later tonight. So around 24 hours for me. But again, depends where you're at. If you're in Miami or somewhere where it's humid or really humid, then maybe it will take longer, or maybe if your temperature is different, etc. So keep that in mind. What is the difference between this recipe and the previous recipes? Number one, we use Guar Gum. By using Guar Gum, it's an emulsifier just like Lecithin is. We don't impart any flavor changes, color changes, etc. Whereas Lecithin may. So some people taste Lecithin, they don't like it, it doesn't sit well in their stomach, etc. So maybe one reason to use Guar Gum. Another reason is that it won't change the color or the flavor of your gummies at all, right? However, a lot of people have lecithin. So if you have lecithin, go ahead and use it. It doesn't bother my stomach. I don't mind using one or the other. It's fine for me, right? But okay, so that's one thing that we changed. Another thing that we changed is we added corn syrup. Now, I don't really get sugar crystallization when I make gummies ever, so that's not a reason that I would use corn syrup. But I believe by using corn syrup, it creates a more squishy, a nicer squish for your gummies, right? Also, Guar Gum may impart a little change in the texture as well to be a little bit better on the squish as well. But that's something important to note, right? So we used basically 1 packet to 1 tablespoon of unflavored gelatin. So 1 packet of flavored gelatin to 1 tablespoon of unflavored gelatin. You could further mess with these ratios, right? So for example, you could try 2 tablespoons of unflavored gelatin to 1 packet. What that's going to do is give you a much more dense, a harder gummy than these, right? By playing with the different ratios, you are going to get different textures within your gummies. Again, play with it, right? Whether you include corn syrup or not, whether you include Guar Gum or not, whether you change your ratios or not, it's up to you, because you can really dial in how squishy they are, how chewy they are, etc. Obviously, by using potassium sorbate, these things are shelf stable. Now, if you wanted to use mold inhibitor from LorAnn LorAnn Ales, I don't know why I always say that. LorAnn oils, you could do that. If you wanted to use lemon juice, you could do that. But again, we used potassium sorbate. I have it on hand and I like the way it works, and etc. Once these are dry, they are going to be good for a super long time, in the freezer forever. In fact, that's what I do. I put them in the freezer, and that's how I take them out when I need them. These are shelf stable. They could be out on the counter, no problem. Obviously, whatever type of flavor you want to go for, you're going to mix and match. So you don't have to use orange juice. You could use any type of juice you want. You could even use water, right? This will change the flavor of your gummies. The flavor of the flavored gelatin will change your gummies. The flavoring that you add. Do you have to add flavoring? You do not. But if you add flavoring, it will make the flavor more intense, etc. Now, if you're using tincture and you use quite a bit like I did, then you may have some taste of alcohol. But by putting extra flavoring in there, that will help mask it. If you don't want a taste of any type of cannabis or tincture or anything like that, then just go ahead and use concentrate. By using concentrate, the flavor is very minimal. It will really be dispersed throughout the gummies, and add some flavoring, you won't taste anything, right? All right, so really in the next episode or of part of this series, what we'll do is we'll talk about doing cosmetic things to your gummies, because you can add glitter, you can do lots of different cool things with them. And yeah, guys, gals, everybody, I hope you found this episode useful. If you did, please share it with your friends. It would mean the world to me. Also, this shirt, if you like it, it's available in Herbistry420's merch. You can go to merch.herbistry420.com, and by purchasing t-shirts or apparel, etc., it helps support the channel. I appreciate that, guys. Anyways, guys, gals, everybody, woo, woo! I hope you like this video. Let's eat one, right? I was kind of thinking I shouldn't eat one because it's going to destroy my day and I have a bunch of stuff to do. And this is one of the smaller ones, so hopefully I'm still able to function, because I not only have to edit this video, but I have several other things I have to do today. Plus I have to meet someone. Anyways, let's eat one. I mean, these are nice, huh? For sure, they taste 100% like strawberry, but there's a little bit of tang from the orange juice. It just works really well. I don't know if you saw that, but anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. You know the deal, baby. Woo! Till next time, I'm out!